want to get your opinion on something that I was thinking about. With Murder Rap, with Greg Kading's movie and book or whatever, if Puffy was as innocent as he claims to be in that whole situation, could he technically sue Greg? And if so, why do you think he hasn't?
Well, I'll play devil's advocate on that. Well, Greg will fall up under, this is what we was informed by Keefy D. An informant or alleged witness and all of that. But yeah, that's a good point. Why hasn't he? Because he sure threatened to sue LA Times and Chuck Phillips when that information came out that about Jimmy Hinchman and all of that, where it cost Chuck, who was a award-winning journalist and the LA Times to go into hiding pretty much after writing the story that he did, where he found out he had some bad information. He had an informant, for those of y'all don't know, a fool that he was listening to that did some fake documents and put it out, and Chuck took that information and ran with it. And it turned out that the informant made up the documents and gave him some bad information. And Chuck didn't do his due diligence. Just like Greg Kading's always get the bad rap as being a dirty cop because he, one, pulled a gun on a kid when he raided a house for a wanted person, and two, because he told, which, mess up your credibility in court, but trust me, it happens all the time. He told an informant, promised an informant something, just like all these boys getting promised stuff. Then y'all hear on this, on a YSL, that crew, where the defense attorney was saying, I'm texting the DA now to make sure our deal is right and we're trying to agree upon the deal. Well, that goes on a lot with snitches when you got somebody that's snitching, as Keefy did. And this guy obviously doing against them. But yeah, you bring up a good point. Why hasn't he sued Chuck Phillips? Some will say because it ain't enough steam. I didn't get arrested. Out of sight, out of mind, and all of that. But trust me, people like Gene Deal and all of them would expose the hell out of Puffy if he did that. Because he always trying to deny even knowing Keefy and them, where audio conversations with Keefy being wired for sound, it's obvious that he knew Von Zip, and they talked about Puffy and stuff. And not only that, Big Gene always saying how they used to talk. I've been on a conversation on a three-way call where I connected Gene and Puffy together, and they were having conversations about shooting dice. The guys in the crew shooting dice, and how most of those dudes that was in that crew was faggots and stuff. Oh yeah, I still got that audio, Keefy and Gene.
You on accident you said you connected Puffy and Gene. I just wanted to make that clear.
I meant to say, if I said Puffy and Gene, I meant Keefy and Gene. I've been on three-way conversations between them. But my point is, Puffy and that crew knew Keefy D. And so Puffy doesn't want that to come out as well, because he knows people would confirm that he was around them, and Keefy couldn't, because that's all he could be saying is he lying? Now, if Keefy D ever said, and he wasn't on tape saying these things to Greg Kading, and he all of a sudden do as he does, say, oh, I didn't say that, oh, that ain't what it said, and if it wasn't on tape recorder, and then Puffy will have a claim against Greg Kading's in the LAPD. But cops get told stuff all the time. And you just tell them what you was investigated. Most things that not eyewitnessed by a cop is usually done, or they get arrested by what? People snitching and talking, running their mouths too much, or two, and more importantly, informants. Cops ain't always there when shit happens. Very few times is we make what we call observational arrests. Most of your arrests is done by what we call report cards. You got radio calls and you got observational arrests. And you very rarely have what you call observational arrest. Now, observational arrest is usually when you observe something and then it happens, it goes down. A report or radio arrest is usually done when somebody call you and they come and then they start the investigation to make an arrest. And so, yeah, he would have a hard time suing Puffy. Greg Kading's or the LAPD because they just going based on what Keefe said. But in fairness, just because Keefe said it, where a lot of y'all get confused that y'all think why Puffy haven't been arrested. Because just because a stupid motherfucker say something is not enough to get you arrested alone. But that stupid motherfucker say something and you get something else to sustain that, then it can be used against you and it can help with the arrest. And that would come up if something else came up, like finding a check, finding some money, Zip had a taped conversation of him and Puff talking that surfaced to the surface. Something like that happened. But to be honest, ain't shit gonna ever happen to Biggie's and Pac arrest investigation other than Keefe. You get some DA that want to pick up this case based on Keefe doing all this talking that he's been doing. But let a certain individual testify who you always want to call a rat and a snitch. He obviously ain't one, because that's all Vegas PD need to have Keefe arrested tomorrow, is that certain individual to say that he saw Keefe in a car sitting outside a club. If that person will go ahead and say that to the police, accompanied with all that shit Keefe been talking and writing about in books and on YouTube, Keefe be gone tomorrow, y'all. Gone tomorrow. But that dude that people been on a campaign to make a snitch is obviously ain't one.